A federal judge in Texas blocks guidance limiting who immigration and customs enforcement should arrest and deport from the U.S. The Biden administration put those rules in place back in January, but Texas and Missouri challenged them. Well, the judge agreed with the states, calling the memoranda arbitrary and capricious. He also cited the rules fail to comply with the Administrative Procedure Act. So to break this all down and to explain this case, let's bring in CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez. Can you just let us know what this judge's ruling means and the setback that it presents to the Biden administration's immigration agenda?
Yes, good morning, Laura. This is the latest in a series of judicial defeats suffered by the Biden administration. In just a couple of days, a federal judge in Texas blocked the Biden administration from enforcing two directives that limited who ICE agents could seek to arrest and deport from the countries. These two directives by Immigration and Customs Enforcement instructed agents to focus on deporting and arresting immigrants determined to pose a national security threat or a public safety threat, as well as migrants recently apprehended along the U.S.-Mexico border. It also directed agents to seek approval from supervisors before arresting anyone who does not fall within the three specified categories that I just laid out. The Attorney General in Texas, as well as the Attorney General in Missouri, quickly sued and challenged these directives in court, and now this federal judge has agreed with these states and said that these directives violate federal immigration law and that they also violate federal administrative law because they were supposed to be implemented through a regulation open to public comments. So this is a setback for the Biden administration and its attempt to overhaul Immigration and Customs Enforcement, an agency which has garnered a lot of criticism from progressives, Laura.
Another setback for the Biden administration we want to talk about involves a Trump-era policy that requires asylum seekers to wait in Mexico for their U.S. court dates. Well, an appeals court denied the administration's bid to pause the court order, requiring it to reinstate the policy by tomorrow, saying that the program was illegally terminated. How will this impact migrants who are waiting there at the border between the U.S. and Mexico? And could the White House potentially ask the Supreme Court to intervene?
Yes, this is another major court case, Laura. A federal judge in Texas last Friday ordered the Biden administration to reinstate this Trump-era policy of requiring non-Mexican asylum seekers to wait in northern Mexico for the duration of their U.S. cases. Under this policy, the previous Trump administration required over 70,000 non-Mexican asylum seekers from Central America, Venezuela, Cuba, and other parts of the world to wait in Mexico and to stay there while U.S. judges adjudicated their claims. This policy, the Trump administration argued, was a significant deterrent and allowed the Trump administration, according to them, to reduce the number of migrants journeying to the U.S.-Mexico border. But the Biden administration called this policy ineffective and inhumane, and quickly suspended it on President Biden's inauguration day. Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas of the Department of Homeland Security also formally terminated this policy in the summer, and the Biden administration has actually been allowing some of those folks who were returned to Mexico during the Trump administration to come back into the U.S. and to complete their asylum hearings here on American soil. So this is a major policy shift that the Biden administration will likely have to implement starting tomorrow unless the Supreme Court intervenes.
We have migrants wanting to come into the U.S. from the Mexico border. Abroad, I'm sure there's a lot of Afghan citizens trying to get out of Kabul that would love to head to the U.S. And this week you reported on Homeland Security asking immigration officials to assist with relocating Afghans who are at risk from the Taliban. What more can you tell us about this? Could we potentially see more efforts like this to expedite the process for eligible evacuees? And would they be coming here to the U.S.?
Sure, Laura. So as you know, right now there is a frantic effort on behalf of special immigrant visa applicants. These are Afghans who assisted the U.S. war effort during the 20-year conflict in the country, and some of these are translators and other Afghans who assisted the U.S. military against the fight against the Taliban insurgency. And we know that 2,000 of these applicants have been resettled directly to the U.S. They have been housed at an Army base in Virginia. And U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services employees have been asked to help interview them and process their immigration applications here in the U.S. But it is still unclear how many of these Afghan wartime allies will actually be resettled directly to the U.S. There are proposals right now, Laura, to have them stay in third countries like Qatar, Kuwait, or possibly Albania before they're resettled to the U.S. or to another third country. But now we know that the Biden administration is asking not just officials at U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, but other federal agencies to volunteer and to help process this increasing number of Afghan allies who are being evacuated from the country.
I've seen several calls on social media, independent organizations asking any Americans who would be willing to sponsor an Afghan family or a refugee to reach out to them. Camilo, thank you so much.